Synthetic Superintelligence and the Transmutation of Humankind, A Roadmap to the Singularity and Beyond, by Wes Penre. Published in 2016. Excerpts. Page 59. A closer look at the super brain. For those who still think that the superbrain computer, or the SBC, is one more of those conspiracy theories, I want to show those readers that the SBC is actually well in progress, and this comes from the horse's mouth. Kurzweil says in a Q&A interview, "To understand principles of human intelligence, we need to reverse engineer the human brain. Here, progress is far greater than most people realize. The spatial and temporal time resolution of brain scanning is also progressing at an exponential rate, roughly doubling each year, like most everything else having to do with information. Just recently, scanning tools can see individual interneuronal connections and watch them fire in real time. Already we have mathematical models and simulations of a couple dozen regions of the brain, including the cerebellum, which comprises more than half the neurons in the brain. IBM is now creating a simulation of about 10,000 cortical neurons, including tens of millions of connections. The first version will simulate the electrical activity, and a future version will also simulate the relevant chemical activity. By the mid-2020s, it's conservative to conclude that we will have effective models for all of the brain. So at that point, we'll just copy a human brain into a supercomputer? I would rather put it this way. At that point, we'll have a full understanding of the methods of the human brain. One benefit will be a deep understanding of ourselves, but the key implication is that it will expand the toolkit of techniques we can apply to create artificial intelligence. We will then be able to create non-biological systems that match human intelligence in the ways that humans are now superior. For example, our pattern recognition abilities. These super-intelligent computers will be able to do things we are not able to do, such as share knowledge and skills at electronic speeds. By 2030, $1,000 of computation will be about 1,000 times more powerful than a human brain. Keep in mind also that computers will not be organized as discrete objects as they are today. There will be a web of computing deeply integrated into the environment, our bodies, and brains." Unquote. From Dr. Ray Kurzweil himself. Instead of how we experience things today, with people sitting before computers and letting the internet find information for them, humanity is going to be connected directly to an AI internet, where they can share all humanity's collective information and knowledge with each other. This collective information will originate from what is programmed and uploaded by humans into the large database Kurzweil calls the superbrain, and which I call the superbrain computer, or the SBC. The collective mass consciousness will then have access to everything that's in the SBC. Or so we're told. Perhaps we can now better see what the internet really is designed to do and why it was developed to begin with. It's a network first tested in the military, just as everything else, and then released to the global population as a forerunner to the superbrain computer. The internet helps the AI scientists and the overlords to collect information on us. They want to know how we think, how we react in relation to each other on a global scale and across different cultures, what the collective is most interested in and why, how many are awake, and how much we know about different subjects. Of course, these are just a few examples. The purpose with the internet is to study human behavior. Hence, social media, dating sites, lack of social interactions, the list goes on and on. It doesn't matter so much what it is we put on the internet in essence. The controllers are closely monitoring it in order to learn about us as a social complex. They are not monitoring us because they want to eliminate people who are figuring things out. Usually they don't care about that. They just want to know how much we know and how much we don't know as a collective. This is why most people get away with what they're publishing on the internet unless someone gets in possession of and is posting some classified material that can be used as evidence against the planners. They also take actions if we do something else that means we're stepping on their toes. The standard operating procedure in the first place is to eliminate the person if possible, or threaten him or her by targeting the person's family or friends. The solution in the latter case is to send the trolls. Ultimately, In a couple of decades or so, the data the controllers have gathered on us will be included in the SBC as collective data from the human mass consciousness. Once the controllers have finished this project and the singularity is in place, the internet will cease to exist, as well as most computers in general. They are no longer necessary because people will have all the internet information available to them inside their brains. All they need to do is download whatever information they want from the SBC, and this will happen instantly. No more slow or disrupted internet connections. Anything can be accessed immediately and electronically from the SBC. In addition, each individual will then add to the SBC database with his or her knowledge on a regular basis as he or she continues learning new things in life. Keep in mind, this has been happening a long time. They've already been doing this. This isn't something that they're not finished with. They're fucking done with this shit. They're refining it. They're just going to roll it out and make it apparent to us. The learning process, by the way, will be unimaginably faster because each individual will download already existing information on any subject that is collected in the mass consciousness, everything from highly advanced scientific data and information to the most mundane thoughts and ideas. This is what Kurzweil means when he talks about us learning 1 billion times faster. We have access to everybody's thoughts instantaneously. One thing that may come to mind to the reader is that the knowledge and information most people possess is often far from accurate, and these inaccuracies and all the junk thoughts we communicate to each other will also be stored in the SBC database. This could potentially mean that these inaccuracies will also spread 1 billion times faster and act as a virus in a system that is designed to only keep accurate data and information accessible. This is of no concern if we ask the AI prophets. No junk or disinformation will be stored in the SBC to begin with, and the individual brain, via nanobots, will simply download what the controllers want us to consider being accurate information, i.e. the information that is stored in the SBC. Everything that's considered inaccurate or pure nonsensical will be erased from the individual's brain because it's not part of what is programmed into the SBC. The SBC database will take over the brain in the sense that what is in the SBC will be what the post-humans will be able to think with. It will be the new human mass consciousness. The idea is that each individual, once connected to the SBC, will instantly be 1 billion times smarter. With this new way of thinking, post-humans can then expand their thoughts and ideas and add them to the SBC database for everybody in the world to have access to. The entire idea with the superbrain is a way to wipe out individual thinking as we know it, and instead the overlords will have us start all over with a storage of selective information that will replace what is now our individual personality. Individuals connected to the SBC will be a new person altogether. They might still be able to individually think, but their thinking will be based on what the overlords and their administrators have decided should be included in the mass consciousness. The superbrain can, of course, be modified by the controllers at any time. This, in conjunction with mankind becoming cyborgs, will send Homo sapiens, humans 1.0, to their extinction indefinitely, replacing them with post-humans, human 2.0. Human 1.0 was heavily controlled and manipulated, but we still had some abilities to think freely about the situation we are in. But by creating human 2.0, the overlords eliminate this option, and post-humans will be the ultimate slaves and capable of thinking in terms of breaking out of this new indefinite control system. If someone would be able to think outside this new diminished-sized box, you can rest assured that this person's thoughts would be erased remotely. We already know that this can be done because the AI prophets have told us. Based on the above conclusions, a book such as this will not be included in the SBC and will probably only exist in human consciousness as long as the internet is up and running and mankind is still not connected to the SBC. The internet is, of course, not the only system from which the controllers are gathering information about us. Other examples are smartphones, new cars, GPSs, and more. This book has over 400 pages in it, and it doesn't mention signals intelligence from the NSA. Maybe I've overlooked it. Kurzweil states outright that in post-singularity we won't be able to distinguish between different virtual realities. If this doesn't sober people up, nothing will. All people need to do is stand back and look at this scenario and ask themselves, is this what we want humanity to become? Do we want to become parts of an external video game where we are the characters, while those who run the SBC are the players? Would that not make it easy for the game masters to make us do anything they want us to do, and place us in any dimension they wish in order to have us fight their cosmic wars? Now the reader probably can see how video games get into the picture as well. Aren't those a preparation for the real virtual reality game that has been planned for us? Young people are addicted to video games. In those, they can get involved in virtual reality wars, space wars, and other extreme violent behavior, and they love it. Wouldn't many of these kids love to be able to do this in real life, thinking they can do it without even breaking any moral or ethics codes? After all, it's all just a virtual reality, right? The deception and manipulation go deep. And those who are most receptive to manipulation of this caliber are the children and the adolescents of today's world. Those who have read Ender's Game understand what I'm trying to convey. Ender is a teenager who competes with other teenagers to become the top virtual reality player, trying to be the one who can shoot down the most alien spaceships. Under strict military discipline, these boys and girls are being told that they are practicing for the real thing, in case we would be attacked by a certain alien species in the future. Ender is doing great on the test runs, and he is shooting down many enemy ships. However, as revealed later, these were not test runs, they were the real thing. Every time Ender and the other children shot down something on the screen, they actually, unbeknownst to them, shot down real ships. Could it be that the virtual realities Kurzweil is talking about are different dimensions? By having us under control, they could send us through the dimensions and create havoc wherever we go, all under the supervision of the system. Wouldn't that be the perfect weapon for the controllers to expand their empire? If someone thinks this sounds far out, think again and think hard. Bring the video games up one level, and there you have our future reality. When playing video games, we are the characters, and the characters in the game are at our mercy. We decide how they should act. If we bring this up one level, we are the characters, and the controllers are the players. We already have the technology to do this. Welcome to the brave new world. Virtually everything that has to do with technology and artificial intelligence originates from the people in authority, including AI. What we call the physical reality is their domain, under their control. They are the masters of the reality we live in, but they don't control the other dimensions. They control our physical reality from other dimensions, but these dimensions are not under their control. Their empire is located in the physical world, and the beings who live there are we humans and other soul groups elsewhere, who they have manipulated in a similar way that they manipulate us.